Hey guys, back again for another holiday recommendation. This time a film set around winter and is Martin Scorsese's Hugo, directed by Martin Scorsese, and stars Ben Kingsley as George Méliès, Sacha Baron Cohen as the inspector, Asha Butler as Hugo Cababret, and Chloe Grace Moretz as Isabel. So basically, what Hugo basically is I'll give you a little story. So in 2011, I went to Loyalist College for film and television, and I was learning about film production and how to make movies and TV shows and productions and cameras. And it was a Tuesday. And I was like, let's just go into town. I've heard about this movie called Hugo Martin Scorsese. I'd heard really good things. What I did not expect is that to get a history lesson on the early aspects of filmmaking by one of the pioneers of the film going industry, George Méliès. Now, George Méliès is a French auteur filmmaker from the early 1920s or even 1900s. And he was responsible for making the movie The Man on the Moon, which pioneered the original visual effects of filmmaking and adding in layers and layers and sets and productions. But I didn't know that going to this movie. So I just thought it was a Martin Scorsese movie that was a fun kids film, but it was really charming and insightful, and it kind of brings you that warm, fuzzy feeling of the holidays without being set on Christmas Day or something, but just the feeling of like you have a kid who has lost his father and he's trying to figure out the world, and then while trying to figure out the world, he's like, oh, it's like I discovered this connection with this tinker toy that is connected to George Méliès, which is the notorious filmmaker of the 1920s, and it's a really cool homage to the 1920s filmmaking, and it makes you think of movies that like, oh, it's like it wasn't all just CGI and effects. There was a time in Hollywood where people actually made practical effects before the 80s or the 90s or the 70s, and I really like this movie. It is an homage to that filmmaking style. It's got that holiday, wintry feel. All the actors are fantastic. And when I first saw this movie in 2011, it was in 3D. And this is the early era of 3D when it was 3D was everywhere. But if you have a chance to either this is a re-release or if someone I know they made 3D TVs, but if they have a 3D TV and you have a way to see Hugo properly formatted on 3D, I really recommend it. So yeah. So stay tuned for more holiday recommendations. This one was Hugo, but stay tuned for other surprises I have throughout the month of December. And happy holidays. Stay tuned.